Third year, I get this scholarship. I don't pay. Fourth year, summer happens. I come here to Mexico. I don't get any money. I don't get fundings. I don't do anything. I go back to London, study, and then, hey, you cannot do the exam because you haven't paid. Oh, Mr. Gavin gave me a scholarship. No, I'm the sub director, and I decide that, not him. So you need to pay 20,000 euros now, or you won't graduate. I don't have the money. Well, you need to leave England. So I left England. I didn't graduate.
We spend a lot of time looking at where people end up. This show is about what happened on the way there. I'm Toa Pazidis, the founder of The Skin Deep in the End, and I want to bring you on a journey here. And I've sat with enough people to know that nobody gets there easy. In every conversation here, we get under the skin, exploring what life does to a person and what a person does with life. There's a great quote that I love, which is, the purpose of life is to discover a gift. The work of life is to develop it. And the meaning of life is to give that gift away. This is about the work. It's about discovering your gift. It's about developing it and exploring how you give it away. What do we do with life? What does life do with us? It isn't always pretty, but it's always real. And hopefully it's useful for wherever you are in your point of your journey. He left Guadalajara, Mexico, at 16, heartbroken, his first love in a psychiatric ward, and nearly deaf from an explosion he'd set off himself. He arrived alone at a music conservatory in Morelia, where he made a conscious decision to turn his heart to stone, so he'd never have to feel that pain again. From countertenor singing for European royalty, and performing with English Baroque orchestra, to composing immersive, multidisciplinary spectacles like Egregor, a sensory ritual about AI and the collective unconscious, Santiago Cumplido learned that the heart you turn to stone doesn't disappear. It just waits patiently for the art to melt it. Santiago Cumplido. Today, we get under the skin. Santiago, how do you explain to somebody who knows you, who knows your work, or is in the same line work as you do, like somebody who's not a stranger to your work, or not a stranger to your industry, or to your art, or being an artist? When you're talking to someone who really you feel knows what you do, how you create, how do you describe what you do to them?
I feel that the richness that I can put into my work or other people's projects has to do with the fact that I didn't study what I do, that I'm a self-taught, just witty guy that uses other skills to create other stuff. So people that know me know that I studied music, classical music, for many years, five different degrees. So obviously music, it's my brain sort of build up.
How would you get 5 different degrees in music? Like, what's the distinction there?
Yeah, it's a plot. It's a plot of my life. It's not a decision I took, and I wouldn't do it. I don't recommend it, but it was more flowing with the life. Like they sent me to the conservatoire when I was 16, so I studied in Mexico. In Morelia, this place in Mexico, in Michoacan.
Your parents sent you?
Yeah.
Because you asked them to, or because they want? Why did they send you there?
I always knew I wanted to be a musician. I mean, for ages.
From a young age?
Yeah.
From the beginning?
Yeah.
Well, what's your earliest memory when you knew that?
I wanted to be a magician. When I was a kid, and you say, what do you want to do? Mago. Then they gave me, uncles and family, they gave me sort of magic toys, tricks. And then I realized they were tricks, that they were not magic. So I said, no, you know what? I want to be a musician. So that was like my next thing. And of course, I can see now that every single thing I love, I decided, it's been imprinted on me. Like, the reason I wanted to be a musician is because my parents listened to great music. They loved music. So they had this beautiful
Record player?
Yeah, the how you call it? LPs, like.
Yeah, that played LPs.
LPs.
The vinyl.
Vinyl, exactly. They had all this rock, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Fleetwood Mac, Supertramp, Crosby, Still and Nash, all that stuff. Stevie Wonder. So those were my first musical experience, and they were very sophisticated musics. And of course, I can say I know now that I am a very sensitive soul, and I received a lot. Maybe other kids would have just ignored it, but I was touched by them deeply. And they had these beautiful Pink Floyd sort of solo guitars, you know. And this kid was like, "That's amazing. That's nice. That's what's that?"
This kid being you.
Yeah, this kid beat me. So that I had a deep impression in that music with that music. So by the time that I realized that magic was not an option, I knew I was going to be a rock guy, a musician. I mean, it's not that I was defining my future because I didn't care about adulthood, but I knew music was something big. But also, this is imprinted on me because my mom took me to music lessons before kindergarten. Like, she really, I'm a project, like, I'm a man made project by my mom.
By your parents or by who?
By my parents, by my mom, mostly, because my dad wanted me to be a football player, soccer, hopefully, because he's, very, very passionate about that. And and soon enough, he realized that it was not going to work with me. Like I was bad, you know. So I would store self goals, that kind of thing. Like I was good with my body in the sense of agile, but not but I just didn't have this chip of soccer.
the soccer chip,
Yeah, it's
like
a
your dad
chip.
had.
It's a chip. It's a chip, and you have it or you don't have it. Like
Yeah.
even if I would have effort, put so much effort in learning soccer, I would have been awful because it's just the chip is not there, man.
Right.
So anyway, he soon realized that I was good at music, and that I had that kind of chip and that kind of connection, passion that he had with soccer. So he honored that. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, you don't like that. It's okay." But my mom put me into lessons, piano lessons, singing lessons, music lessons. So before I learned ABC, I learned do re mi before. So
Wow.
all
Wow.
that, I'm an imprinted guy. I'm just a sponge, very sensitive sponge, very sensitive soul. Now I can see that nothing is casual. Like I obviously am a musical soul. Like obviously I've been in music in other lives, in arts. Like now I can say after a long journey of trying to live music, trying to live singing, uh, and then realizing that it's really in my soul. So it's a combo of just a man-made project, woman-made project by my mom, and soul information.
When was the first moment you realized that music was magic? And where was the last time you realized that music was in your soul? Because you just said, I realized that music was in my soul. So when was the first moment you realized that music was magic? And what was the last time now in this age that you realized, no, this is in my soul?
Well, I have memories of sitting in the living room. Of course, they had a good stereo sound system. So these big speakers, old school, wooden.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I remember myself sitting there alone, listening to Dark Side of the Moon, by Pink Floyd.
How old
He,
are you?
yeah, 5, 4, 5, and listening to this soul, this part after breathing the air, that is just the singing, this solo. I forgot the name of the song, but it's this woman just, and I remember crying, being there crying, you know, and
Wow.
and and my mom will come and say, "Are you sad that does this music make you sad?" And I was like, "No, okay." So she was
No
trying.
what? No what? No, it doesn't make you sad, but how did it make you feel? Do you
Yeah,
remember how it made you feel?
I had no words at the time, of course, and my mom was not as curious as you are. She should have been. But that's actually one of my woundings, child wounding, is that no one was curious about my experience. So anyhow,
Mm.
I I had no words about it, but I was overtaken by it. I was, the magic, the force, the beauty of that music was just would take me. This little kid was overflowing by emotion, by information, that I was just crying. But it was not a crying like turn it off. It was like, no, no, leave it. Like it was just tears. And so all
Yeah.
these musics, Stevie Wonder, The Secret Life of Plants, they are my most vulnerable, tender, s- not in the world language memories I have. These musics, the emotions, the feelings, the sensations, like that experience is the most deep I have from my childhood. Actually, like that it's now. I studied music, and a lot of things had happened to me. Actually, studying music was a big sort of blockade in my sensitivity. Like to be cerebral about it
Hmm.
really left me out of the game of enjoying music for many years. I
Wait. So what you're saying that actually going and studying music disconnected you from that original feeling you had as a child,
completely,
and yet
completely.
you got 5 degrees in it.
Yeah, yeah, because I studied there, so it's
Where in Morelia?
in
You
Morelia.
studied in
So I
Morelia
go to Morelia
at 16.
at 16. A lot of weird things happened to me. Of course, I'm full of stories. Like I was deaf at the time. When I started music school, I was deaf because
What?
I was a pyromaniac, and I did a massive explosion just some days before traveling actually to my new city that left me deaf,
In both ears.
both ears.
So let me break this down. So you're 16 years old. Your parents know you love music, and you're like, and they decide to send you to a conservatory in Morelia. And a few days before you leave to go live there and study at 16, you blew something up, and that left you deaf in both ears.
Yeah.
For how long were you deaf for?
Well, not to mention that my parents they were sending me there for two reasons. One reason was like, oh, you want to be a musician? You're gonna be a studied musician, not just like a pothead.
Mhm.
Not that I smoked anything. And the other reason is that my girlfriend tried to kill herself. Like I was depressed. Like
Oh,
my first love. It's a very sad story. She was raped as we were together. She became alcoholic. Like
oh my.
it was a very hard time for me. I was just supporting her, but she was hurting me a lot. She slept with
Wow.
She slept with 11 friends of mine.
Oh
So
my.
I was hard. So they were like, send this guy somewhere to get out of this environment and all this story. She didn't
Mm.
kill herself. Now she's a lovely, lovely, amazing woman, but she had some 20 years hardship.
Wow.
So then I was there, deaf and depressed. The last time I saw her, it was in the mental hospital with two bandages in her hands.
Wow.
That was my farewell, a 16-year-old.
Wow.
So I was there alone. And I thought, it's not that I was deaf. I had a tinnitus, like, "Dee."
Mhm.
But it was
Mhm.
so loud that I just couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear that. So I was in my first singing or music lessons, and they were like, Santiago. So I could hear they were speaking to me, like, what's this note? And I was like, what? Like I could not hear the teacher. But I thought that it would go away. I thought, well, those things happen, when you go to a loud concert, and then next day you're fine. And 1 week passed, 2 weeks passed, and I was not even the same, maybe worse.
Wow.
Until I went to a doctor, 16-year-old little kid. I went to a doctor, and he said, "You're a musician." And he checked me and he said, "You're a musician. Man, you're about to become deaf. Like deaf. Like you're dying. Your ears are dying. Like you need help. Like, man, this is so serious." Like he scared me. Like he was really upset. It was an old man. And he was like, "We need to do so much stuff to you." So he took me to machines, put water in my ears, put me in things in chambers, medicines. Like he did all kinds of things to save my ears. He he gave me like, I remember I used to take like 8 pills a day.
Mm.
Take these pills. Do you have money? And I was like, no. Don't worry. You know what? Don't pay me. Just take these pills. He bought the pills,
Wow. Wow.
and I was taking the pills, and I was there in this old house in a mansion because my parents found this sort of bed and breakfast thing with two ancient people. A couple of old guys and like two servants, but really massive, like a whole block house, antique. And I was just there.
You were living there in Morelia.
Yeah, I was there living there in this weird house, spooky house with there was like three grand pianos in different spaces of the house.
Wow.
And I was there and I felt so weird, I felt so weird and I told the doctor next week, when I was having weekly checks, I'm feeling weird. I feel like nothing excites me, like I feel very gray. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you. Two of the pills you're taking, they have depressive effects on your brain. And I was like, what's depressive? What? Like, they were so hard because they were pills for the brain, like the brain,
Mm-hmm.
like the inner ear. It's really the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, eventually I recovered my ears. It was all fine.
How long did that take?
I think, yeah, 2 3 months, and then I was fine and I was saved, apparently. And
Wow.
I was there, and then I I was crying every day at some point because of my ex, that girl. And at some point I was like, you know what? I had enough of this feeling, of this crying. I'm gonna make my heart stone. I
Mm.
remember I had such a,
Conscientious choice.
but it was so deep, man. Like, it was just boom. So next day I never cried again. I couldn't cry for years. Like the next day it was just different, guy. My life changed there, personal life, because then somehow I started being attractive for people now that I didn't want to feel anything. Anyway, I realized at some point that this stupid school, it lasts 8 years to graduate as a musician, which is very, very, very stupid, because by the time you spend 8 years there, life has moved on and, no one cares. Like, you just spent 8 years studying the same thing that other countries do it in 3 or 4 years. So at some point, I spent, 4 years were gonna pass, and I said, "No way, I'm gonna stay in this place for 8 years." So I left to London, and there I so
After how many years? At what age?
19, 20,
So you spent 4 or 5 years there.
4, yeah,
4 years.
yeah,
And then you left at 1920 for London.
yeah. But I had no degree because I would have had to stay 4 more years
Mm-hmm.
in this little town, boring. So I had to start again in London, which was very annoying. So that's the reason why the second degree.
But why London? Why did you choose London? I mean, that's not an expensive place to go. Did you have a scholarship, or how did you?
So all my life choices have been. I'm a projector in human design, and now that makes so much sense. Everything I've done, I've been invited to. Like, I don't. I normally don't create new pathways. Like, they open up,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm invited and I take them. And I all those years, I was a very yes person. Hey, you
Yes
want?
to anything. Yes, yes to this. Yes, things came up. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and that's a good thing I got from my dad. Lencho. He's like a yes guy. Like, he's a very daring, brave guy, and I sort of
Yeah,
tried to
beautiful soul.
beautiful soul.
Yeah, beautiful soul.
And that courage, I sort of got some of it, of like, yeah. So I went to study composition here, not singing. I never chose or wanted or desired to be a singer. But after some years being in there in Morelia, they told me, you're a singer, man. Like, you have a good voice. Do you want to sing opera? And I was like, yeah, man. Why not? So the last 2 years there, I was singing opera professionally without even, you know, wanting to. So I was in Mexico City singing in big theaters with orchestras. and it was fun. It was fun. So I was like, yeah. I mean, I studied composition, but I'm singing now. They're paying me. Like my first paid jobs was singing. So people started to tell me, man, you need to go to London.
How did you afford to pay for school? Just by singing or the singing job?
Well, Paloma would say that I have
Your
uh,
sister, Paloma, your
Paloma,
sister,
my
yeah.
sister. She would say that I have in my moon, I have Leo, and I have Jupiter, which apparently is good luck. which it's tr-
So you
which
have good luck.
so I have good luck because people gave me money. Like I would come 2 or 3 times a year to Mexico to do fundraising concerts with rich people. Uh, rich people just give me, "Here, here's $1,000." Uh, and just
Mm,
singing, man, just singing. I managed to pay all that. A lot with
wow.
Careyes. Like Careyes was a place that I gave me a lot of funding for living in Europe because Careyes is this crazy place in the Pacific, in Mexico,
Yeah.
with
Hmm.
mansions and millionaires. And I would go there and sing for them, and I will just charge, every hour I would charge more thousands of dollars. So I would go back to Europe with some bucks in my pocket, and I would live there until they started running out, and I will start eating lechuga, like lettuce tacos. Just you know, just the taco with lettuce and salt. So
Wow.
yeah, a lot of stories, man. Like after I finished, I was in England 4 years. They were so fun. From 20 to 24, it was so fun. I was wow, like having so much fun, learning stuff, all the culture there. I was and somehow I was invited to be the singer in an opera, big opera, and there I met the royal family, like people from aristocracy in England, and they started inviting me to private stuff. So then I was friends with royalties and with all kinds of weird, very important people that I don't know who they were, and that's why I was invited, because they could sense that I didn't care or knew who they really were. Like,
Hmm.
because I was not trying to be there. So then I was in very important events, and the director, the chairman, or I don't know how you call it, like the main guy of my school, he would find I would bump into him in royal family gatherings, and he was like, "Why are you here?" Like, "Oh, they invited me." Like, "You study in my school?" "Yeah, yeah, I'm in Trinity College." "You know what? I'm gonna give you a full scholarship, man. You're cool."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he just gave me, scholarship.
It just seems like your life. So you've already we've been talking a few minutes now. You're telling me the story. We're at age 24 or whatnot, and you already have three people. You have the doctor who gave you medicine without charging you. You have this dean who gave you a scholarship out of nowhere. You have, the rich community in Carreras and other places that supported you for singing.
Yeah.
So you are saying yes to life. You don't do anything without invitation because that's astrological sign or your personality. And yet Jupiter, like your sister says, who's astrologist, but she says, you have Jupiter, so luck. So people come in and they fill in the gaps. You need this, boom, free scholarship. Or you need this, here's some cash, and that pays for things. You've had that throughout your life. Is
Yeah.
that continued on well after your 20s?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it stopped finally. Not stopped. I mean, there's still, allies and
Yeah,
but all through
accomplices.
yeah, accomplices, all through my 20s and 30s, so many things like that has happened, man. Like, uh, but I've also had the opposite. I've had antagonists all my life. All my life. Actually, this story in London, it ended up badly for me. Fourth year happens. So
In
in
London, fourth year
London,
in London
yeah,
happens.
like
Hmm.
first year I was paying, second year was paying, third year I get this scholarship, I don't pay.
Hmm.
Fourth year, summer happens, I come here to Mexico, I don't get any money, I don't get fundings, I don't do anything. I mean, just the normal, the minimum. I go back to London, study, and then final exams, for graduation. And then, hey, you cannot do the exam because you haven't paid. And I was like, oh, Mr. Gavin gave me a scholarship. Do you have a paper? Can I see it? And I was like, well, ask him. I mean, he told me I'm a full score. No, I'm the sub director. Like, I'm the guy, and I decide that, not him. And you're not granted. So you need to pay 20,000 euros now, or you won't graduate. And I was like, please speak to Gavin. Like, really, he told me, and and like, I don't have the money. Well, you need to leave England. I'm so sorry. So I left England. I didn't graduate.
Wow.
I left England.
How do you explain that? So, and I assume you've had a few episodes like that. You mentioned you have antagonists. Is that the first time you come across an antagonist?
No, no, no.
That's not in your life. That's
All my life,
at
man.
that point, all your life.
All
What
my
do you
life.
think is the function of that antagonist, of the antagonist for you?
When I was in primary school, the first time we went to another city, Querétaro, we went to compete sports, and I was distance jump. Like when you competing that,
A distance jumper.
distance jumper. The director kept me by key in my hotel room, and I just couldn't go out.
He locked you in the room.
She locked me in the room. So
Why?
I've had I don't know, man. I don't remember, but nothing justifies that. Like, I was not being evil or anything. Like, I had those antagonists, and I feel my true, honest feeling. And you can ask Lencho about it, my dad. Like, he has his feelings about it. He noticed that since I'm a kid. My mom is more but my dad has noticed that. Like, man, that's guy.
Your mom is more what? Your mom is more. You made this. You shook your hands and you like she's more in the air. She's more.
Yeah, she's Aquarius. She's in there, but she's more dealing with more. She's no so acute in her piercing
in her vision
perception.
But your dad does. Your dad, Lencho, he noticed. He's like, son, you have these antagonists that seem to show up in your life.
Yeah, and people that love you. So you need to start noticing that, man, because
so is he reflecting? You need to start noticing those who love you and support you, and those who are your antagonists.
Yeah. I mean, it happened over the years. Before it was just like, man, I feel this guy. He says he's your friend, but he has betrayed you like 5 times. Like, why? Like, he would just question stuff. He's your best friend, and now he's with your partner. Why? So I'm used to, and until recent years, but very recent years, I came to a new understanding of this, because it's been painful and hard, but also fun, and I think what is it that these people suddenly antagonize me? That I've done nothing to them. They go, now I have many more stories of people that have wronged me, that I've done nothing to them. And I think it's maybe this a sort of envy that I'm okay even by them hurting me. At the end, I'm like a cockroach. Like, you step on me, you think I'm dead, you go to bed, next morning you go and the cockroach is not there. She left. Like, it's hard to
feel like that.
It's hard to kill me, man.
So you feel what I'm hearing you say is that you feel with all these antagonists coming into your life that it's a sign, it's just a reminder for you of how resilient you are.
I turn it into that, I don't think it's the original. I don't think it's the original. I think, getting to know my human design thing, it really helped me, because my numbers there, they reflect that I'm a very, let's say I'm like a mirror to some people, and they see their nice stuff on me or their awful stuff on me. So they project on me stuff that is not mine. And for years, I kind of knew that without not consciously, but I didn't take it personally until it got it sort of growed and added up until some years ago. I was like, man, I had enough of this bullshit. Like, why are you acting like this, man? Like this, and I had a that was 2 years ago that I sue someone for the first time. I had a lawyer and I said, "Fuck you, man! Like you took my art, you took my stuff, and enough, you know." And that was a major shift, for me 2 years ago. Before that,
Huh.
I would just take shit, but I wouldn't take it. I would just go and wash myself in the river and but at
What do
some
you mean by you mean figuratively? You'd wash yourself in the river. You
yeah,
like cleanse yourself and move on.
yeah,
Just keep moving on.
yeah. I knew
But
that
you wouldn't confront it
not much. No,
until 2 years ago. That's the first time you actually went and confronted it.
yeah,
Let's get back to that. But let's put that note on that about the confrontation and changing that pattern.
yeah.
That's interesting. But I want to come back to, so you just told us about how you got the 2 degrees, now kicked out of London, UK. Then where'd you go? You're
I
24,
I'm
right?
24. I go to Mexico.
Mexico City.
No, Guadalajara,
Come back to Guadalajara where you're born. Yeah.
and then I don't remember how, but I end up singing for the ambassadrice of Spain in Mexico City.
The ambassador of Spain. She was a woman. It was a woman.
Yeah. And from Spain, the ambassador of Spain in Mexico City. I sing for her. She likes me. We become friends, and she says, "Santiaguito, you haven't studied enough. You need to continue studying. So go to Barcelona. I know you're late. You missed the first 2 months. I'll speak with them. Go there. I'll pay for it. Don't worry." So she
No.
became a helper,
Oh,
a supporter.
another helper showed up.
So I went to,
Incredible.
but just before going there, I sang for the owner of a very important newspaper in Guadalajara, El Informador. I sang for this old man, very rich, important guy. And he said, "You know what? I'll give you 40,000, no, 40,000 US dollars. Do you want them?" And I was like,
For
"Yeah."
what? To do what? To do what?
To help you with your studies, man. You need help. Like,
Oh my gosh.
so I go to Barcelona. I tell my parents I went to Barcelona, and my dad says, "I have a friend, Fernando Ochoa, who is dating
Uh-huh.
a Barcelona woman. Let's see, I'll get her the phone just to, So I call her. Hey, I'm going there. I'm going to Barcelona. She's like, "Do you have where to stay?" "Not really, man. I have a flat in El Borne. Why don't you live there?" And I was like, "Okay, thanks. How much?" "Man, it's free. It's free. Come on, for free." So I was just living there in the coolest area in Barcelona for free, paid by the ambassador of Spain, my
For
studies there,
schooling.
my
Yeah.
schooling with 40,000 US dollars in my account.
And you're 25.
And I'm
You're
25. And I'm just, so I said, "You know what? I want to be a painter, man." Like, oh, and also I'm studying there. First day of classes, gorgeous girl comes dressed like in a movie, hat, all in red. And I'm like, she's cute. We become friends. And she's like, "You know what? I'm in an opera now and they need a countertenor. And I told them that you're amazing. Come, they want to meet you." I go, "You have the role."
They gave you the role.
Yeah.
They
So,
heard you and they gave you the role.
yeah. So now I have paid job in a cool opera in Barcelona. So with a salary, my free flat. And I'm like, oh, but the opera is only in the evenings. It's a special thing. So I need to go there only at 7 or 8 o'clock every day with, 2 days break. So I'm free all day, every day. And I'm just
Wow.
painting and cooking.
But you're not studying? You're not studying at this point, or you finished the studies?
As I started studying, and then I was like, you know what? This school is crap, man. It's awful. Like,
Hmm.
I'm just going to study with the teacher, with the singer. So I was just having private lessons with the teacher because the school was really not cool. So then I go back to Mexico. I meet the ambassador, and she's like, "No, Santiaguito, you need to study more. So now I think the best school in the world now is in The Hague in Holland for Baroque. Go tomorrow. No, next week is the auditions. Go. If you're admitted, I'll pay for it. Don't worry.
Wow.
I take the plane. I go. I'm admitted, and she pays my other studies in Holland.
So that's the fourth degree. That's a fourth place. Okay.
And I'm
How
studying
was that? How long were you in the Hague for?
6 years.
Okay.
So it was a long time. And that was things started shifting there for me. The first day I'm there, I see this gorgeous girl, and there was this other girl that she was helping me. Oh, this is the pigeonholes. You put here your things. Here's where you like. She was showing me because she was from Chile, so she was in Spanish. Man, this is you need to go here, here, and I was like, okay, thank you. And this gorgeous girl passed, and I'm looking at her, and she's like, don't even think about it. She's taken. She's called Miss Perfection. She's perfect. She has a older boyfriend. Don't even look at her. Like, don't go there. Like, you are a crazy guy. She would never look at you. And I was like, well, it took me 2 years to try to be close to her. And she was like, fuck off. I would, hey, no, thank you. I didn't say anything. No, thank you. And I was like, okay. 2 years until eventually we started dating. And it was with her that my life shifted because, first of all, she was a mature, healthy person. Secondly, she was a singer, and it wasn't until I lived, side to side with a singer that I realized that I was not a singer.
Okay, so quick question. How old were you when you started dating this woman that changed your
Maybe
perspective?
27, around
27.
27.
So and you were living with her, so then you were very close proximity, and you could see what a singer does, and you realize you don't do it, so you're not a singer.
Well, not just doing, speaking, vibing, seeing life. Like I realized, man, all along I've been studying this stuff and it's fun, but I want to paint, cook, create stuff, build lasers, explode stuff, travel, do nothing, and she just wants to go, every day, and she's fine with it. And I can see that she's fine with that, and I'm not fine with that, man. Like, I'm not a singer. So I started realizing, man, something's shifting. But then the ultimate shift happened when I wasn't faithful to her, and I confessed because I used to be a bit, naughty Mexican Latino guy that thinks that can get away with everything with a smile. And cheeky bastard, they will call me in England. You're such a cheeky.
What they call it? Cheeky bastard.
Cheeky bastard. And so I would do what we call in Spanish sincericidio. So sincerity, like honesty, and suicide in the same word. When you go and you say to your girlfriend, I lied to you, I'm so sorry, I'm a piece of shit, Oh, in this trip to Mexico, I slept with that girl. And she was like, you know what? Okay. Listen, I need you to read this book and go to therapy right now. If you don't read this book and go to therapy like yesterday, you'll move out of the house and I'll keep the house and you leave.
She'll kick you out. Okay.
And I was like, shit. So for the first time ever, I went to therapy. And what happened? Something new happened. I was hooked by this world. The book was amazing.
What was the book?
It's called Hands of Light by Barbara Brennan. It's a big blue book with two hands. And I was like eating the book and I was like, man, this is amazing. Like I was just so caught in the therapy universe and healing, in energy healing, in consciousness and stuff. And I was going to this therapy. And I remember I went to the first therapy. It was a Barbara Brennan sort of
therapist. The first therapy session.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm like.
And how old are you? 27
yeah,
now?
27,
28?
around there, yeah. And I'm like, so tell me about you, Santiago. I'm like, well, I'm an artist, maybe a singer, I don't know. I meditate. I come from a meditation family. I'm very spiritual. I meditate. I was kind of lying. I don't really meditate that much, you know? And she was like, well, that's nice. I'm very glad you meditate, but you can meditate your face off until the end of times. And until you don't deal with this bullshit that you're doing, nothing will happen. Okay? And I was like, fuck. Like, she was like, okay. You know, so that was the
So is that
beginning.
a beginning of like someone calling you on your bullshit and telling you what, that no one's gonna, well, the only thing that will change is you changing it?
Well, basically, this therapist was a Barbara Brennan therapist, but she was also a pathway therapist. The pathwork. So pathwork
Okay.
is it's a lineage of therapy. You know, pathwork, a philosophy that basically the slogan of pathwork is healing the shadow,
Mm-hmm.
doing the dirty job that no one wants to do. All these healers, coaches, therapists, they sort of and it's not bad, but they all focus in the positive. Oh, you're a soul. This do this and great, beautiful. Focus on that. And this therapy is like, what's down there, man? What's down there
What's down in the shadows?
in
Go to the shadows and pull the stuff out of the shadows.
yeah? What's in
and
the
work with that.
basement? What's in the basement? What's
And
going
so
on?
is that the first time that question was posed to you?
Yeah,
Like, stop bullshitting, let's go in the basement and pull out what's there and deal with that?
yeah.
And did you want to do it? You did want to do it because you
Y-
read the book and the book inspired you and you're like, let's do it.
You know what? It just resonated large. You know, it just resonated with me, that approach. It just resonated. I was like, fuck,
Mm-hmm.
she's so right. Like, this is so uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And I think maybe as a person, I'm a guy that when I feel uncomfortable in a healthy way, it just rings a bell to me. Like, why are you uncomfortable? What is this showing you, about yourself? You know, like I've always been maybe naturally curious about the inner world, and this was just the perfect bell. You know, so I started continuing there. And I haven't, by the time I haven't finished the book. So when I finished the book, the last page, you can learn all these techniques in Barbara Brennan's School of Healing in Miami or in Austria, and the website. And I was like, fuck, there's a school for this. Like, you can learn this crazy energy healing, checking the aura, the chakras, like all this healing through consciousness. Like, there's a school. Oh my God, but it must be impossible to get there. Like, whoa. You know, I had this idea. Eventually, I entered the website, checked the prices, super expensive. Like, well, 10 grand a year plus five or six flights to Miami per year, plus 2,000, I don't know, like a lot of money
Yeah.
and I was like, shit, I need to study there. I need to study there. So I'm speaking with my friend, the ambassador of Spain. She's like, guess what? I'm moving to Miami. I'm going to live in Miami. I'm going to be the consul of Spain in Miami. Like, man, I want to study there. Come stay in my house.
Oh my God.
So I go
Well,
to,
what about the Dutch girlfriend you broke up at this point? Or no, you're still with her?
I'm still with her.
Okay.
It's all healing better, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I graduate.
You moved.
I finally graduate, you know?
Uh-huh. Takes you 6 years, right?
Takes me
So
6
you're 30
years.
now.
And now
You're
I'm
30
30
now?
and I graduate. And the second I get the diploma in my hands, naturally, it just comes to me. I'm out of here. Like, I need to get out of this fucking cold, boring place
Mm,
right now. So it was a very natural, response. I haven't
mm,
even thought of it. And
mm-hmm.
I tell Stephanie, man, let's go to Mexico.
So
You,
Stephanie is a Dutch girlfriend, the Dutch singer, yeah?
yeah, she's German Canadian.
Okay, German-Canadian singer, yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, you're an amazing singer. Come to Mexico. You will rock there. Like, everyone will hire you. Like, you're amazing. And you know, and let's do stuff in the sun with the palm trees and the coconuts and like. And she's like, you know what? I'm not going, man. I'm happy here. So that was the end of our relationship. I knew I had to leave, so I left. Come back to so I went to La Villita in Ajijic, where my parents just bought the house there months before. I get there and I say, "Oh man, I'm leaving. I'm I'm letting behind the singing. I'm letting behind music. I'm gonna completely start from scratch. Like, bye to that life. I'm just gonna sit here." And I only had very few decisions to make. Do I want to eat mango, guacamole, cucumber,
That was
chips,
it.
swim, or lie down here? For 3 months,
That was
that's
it.
all I did. It was like a massive detox of European crazy
Mm.
competition and stress, and I was just there.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I'm like, I'm going to Miami, man. I'm going to Miami.
But this is to study with the
Barbara
Hands of
Brennan,
Light,
yeah, Hands of Light.
Barbara Brennan. So
And
you're
this is
studying
like,
there,
like a new
blowing your
universe.
mind,
Yeah, like fuck music. I'm gonna be a healer, man.
right?
and it's going all well and good. And 1 year, second year, and it was hard. Like I was just living to pay that shit. Like every single penny I earned was to pay that stuff.
But you earned it by making music.
Yeah.
By making music or singing.
Yeah,
Right?
always.
Okay.
Yeah. At this point, before I go to Miami, when I say I'm definitely not singing anymore. I had enough. Just sitting there thinking in the sun with the coconut or the mango. And that's it. I'm not singing. Next morning, I open the email. We want you to sing in this massive opera. You're gonna pay all this money. You're gonna be the music director with this famous, Café Tacuba, this famous
No.
group in Mexico.
Mm-mm,
Well,
mm-mm.
the singer of that thing, like, celebrity guys. And I'm like, fuck. So I was earning money again. I was doing music again.
So even though you weren't really interested in the music, it just kept coming, inviting you back in, and you use that as generate the income to pay for the thing that you were interested in, which was the healing.
Yeah. So I went to Guadalajara and I was like, I'm studying here therapy. So I checked the internet and I see that they're opening from New York a school of healing in Guadalajara, half the price. And I'm like, I'm doing that. I finally did the degree. 5 years, did the whole thing after
The healing degree.
Yeah,
In Guadalajara.
in Guadalajara. First generation school teachers from New York, from Miami, the same teachers, but just different scenario. And that was the life shift completely into this weird person I am now. Like that was the major shift.
And that was how long ago?
15 years ago,
15 years ago.
maybe.
So you have that shift 15 years ago, and then you have the 2 years ago when you sued somebody.
Yeah.
Thank you for filling me all in. But let's go to the very first question. Is like when you're telling somebody who kind of is a healer, is a musician, is a singer, is a composition, is a director, you're basically talking to someone like you. And they go, and you're sitting there, you're in a bar, you're in the couch, you had a joint. I don't know if you smoke or not, but you're sitting there and you're like, Santi, what do you really do? What do you tell them?
I would say I'm a restless guy, very creative, daring person with a lot of brainy stuff about music. And I translate that music, brainy stuff with the daring and with the flowing into creating shows and projects that I have no idea what I'm doing, but they end up happening anyway.
But what do those shows do? Do you know why you make those shows? Like, is there an end result you're hoping to get in your audience and the people who experience your shows? Or no, you're just like, this has to happen. I don't know how it affects the audience. It just needs to happen.
I think it's more the second. I'm not such a strategic result end person. It's the same with the painting. I normally I know I need to do stuff. I know I need to take care. Uh, I have a high standard because I saw many shows when in my 13 years in England. Sorry, in Europe. I've seen a lot of quality stuff. They don't fool me with someone just jumping with a nice light. Like I've seen precious stuff and I absorbed a lot. All those years that I was singing opera, I was more focused on the lights, on the machinery of the stage, on the roles of the stage managers.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking stuff to them. How do you turn that stuff? Like I was always more
Mm-hmm.
interested in all that. So I absorbed it. It's here.
Yeah.
And so there's a standard that I just won't go below, not for ego, not for pride. It's just there's something at this point in me. I mean, it's always been there, but now it's more clear. And that moment for me, it's sacred. It's sacred. Like I just cannot allow myself to do something crap in a stage where people paid and sat there to receive magic, to receive art. I just cannot allow myself to do something that is not up to some standard that I have. I cannot go below that.
What in your life, what has life taught you? And maybe that's like led to what happened 2 years ago with you finally changing your tact and suing someone and making a very clear boundary. Like, what has life taught you so far?
Yeah, and I have some fresh, some fresh concepts because I've said some of these things to my little brother Nicolas.
Mm-hmm.
As some sort of advice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the first one that I thought was like saying yes and being available and having this combination of daring, freedom, and freshness of saying yes. It's a lesson that it got there and it got me far. You know, that was the first lesson. Just like flow
Just
and
say yes to life.
say
Just
yes
go with
to
the flow.
say yes, man. Like move.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think too much. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the next lesson was like like distrust your overthinking. Like feel, connect, trust, say yes, try stuff.
And distrust the overthinking. Don't
Yes,
overthink.
no,
Mm-hmm.
at certain age. Then the next lesson was vulnerability and observing one's shadow, darkness, lower self, unbeauty, ugliness is the most powerful thing you can do to yourself. Like it's the most liberating thing you can do. When you
Why?
when you
Why?
lose fear of your ugly side, you can move, you can choose. You can choose differently. When you lose this fear of protecting yourself, protecting your wounds, your ego, your imperfections, being offended if someone points you or life points some bullshit you're doing and being angry about it is not gonna heal shit. So I found the power of curiosity over defensiveness, and that was a massive shift.
The power of curiosity over defensiveness. You mean when you find yourself getting defensive and protective of your vulnerabilities, get curious instead and go into the vulnerability.
Yes.
Like go into that and get curious about why am I vulnerable there? What's going on?
Yeah.
And go into the basement, if you will, and pull something out.
Yep. Because I would spend a lot of energy trying to protect my wounds, my imperfections
Right.
in different ways. From the obvious, like arguing and just being stubborn, but from other subtle ones of trying to be someone I'm not, trying to be hot or beautiful or
Mm-hmm.
amazing, or many of those things were just covering up some painful shit in me, and I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
see it. And when I realized that seeing it was a massive gift, a massive opportunity to lose the fear of your ugliness, that empowered me into a different soul, a different. It just unlocked a different side of my soul.
Mm. And what was on that when you unlocked that part of your soul? What did you see?
Well, to begin with, I became more compassionate, and I started. I sort of acquired this taste, this uh, interest in other people's experience, and I could like when I was listening, hearing, and observing people, I felt love for them. I felt compassion. I felt beautiful emotions. That I kind of even miss now, because now I'm not giving sessions, but just to sit there for an hour and listen to someone and just be there entirely present is such a gift. And I got that.
How does that connect to when you were 16, you decided I'm going to shut down my heart, make it a rock? Has that started melting the rock, or is your heart still a rock? Or if you learning to be compassionate and listening to others, has that started to change the rock of your heart that you chose when you were 16, or not?
The rock was, it remained broken. Sorry, it remained really rock hard for years, and then it got blown. It got like things that
Blown to
happened.
bits?
Yeah, blown to bits slowly. Boom, boom. Different through the years. I had experiences. When I was in Europe, in England, for example, I felt shame and embarrassed of my bullshit many times. I was like, "Fuck, this is awful, man." Like I'm tricking these people. Like you know, uh, I felt embarrassed of being Mexican at some point. Then I was proud. Like it was melting slowly through love, through relationships, and then it end up breaking completely through this process of studying,
Got it.
therapy,
Got it.
and these years after that, these last 14 or whatever years, they've been another stage in which it's been harder to exist, because before I was just playing around, fooling around, but I was disrespectful in a way, and now I'm
Of what? Of what? Disrespectful of what? And what of what?
of my own emotions, of people emotions, of people vulnerability. Like I was ignorant, I was playing around, but there was an ignorant side of it. And now that I know pain and I know other emotions that I was fleeting away from, it's more uncomfortable to exist. I feel more pain. I feel more. It's taking me longer to recover from stuff.
But you feel that there's a payoff to that? You feel that you get value for yourself by opening up and being more compassionate and feeling other people? I mean, I know it's more vulnerable and maybe you feel pain deeper, but then what's your argument for why to do that?
I feel that this society we live in, this Western world, doesn't promote that, and it will punish you to be like that. It will make you feel it. Like
Hmm.
it's not
You mean it
well.
punishes you if you are open and you're
If
vulnerable
you're
and
vulnerable, if you're
yeah.
real, if you're more human, people don't take it very well, because it triggers
Hmm.
all that they're running away from forever, and it triggers that. And this society doesn't prize and doesn't applaud and doesn't receive well, but true vulnerability, uh, true honesty. They want people here in the society. They want edited, like convenient honesty, but honesty
Hmm.
is very uncomfortable. And to be
Hmm.
sober and to be, with no alcohol, with no drugs, just looking someone in the eye and saying something real, it can be unbearable
Hmm.
for me and for
Mhm.
most people, because truth.
So then why do it? So then why do it?
Well, I just cannot go back to the other way. I just cannot.
Why?
I think it's one of those things that you cannot unsee. Like you've seen something that you cannot unsee, or you've done something you cannot undone, because I tried. I tried to be fake. Now I'm trying to be fake. Not now, but I
Mhm.
want to be a painter, and I wanted to be in Art Week, and I realized at some point I've been fighting this idea that in order to be a successful painter, I need to be bullshit, arrogant, a character,
Mm,
phony, super
mm,
interesting, super fun to be with in the cocktail bar. And
mhm.
I'm not that, man. I'm not fun in a cocktail bar. And I wish I would sell my paintings, but the people that that pay that, they want you to be fun and weird and trendy and super cool in the cocktail bar. And I've tried. I kind of tried, and I kind of sold a couple of paintings, but I'm not managing, man. It's not that I even choose to. I just cannot do it, man.
What do you feel life has designed you for?
I feel, sometimes recently in my 40s crisis, I've been wondering if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this life, blah blah blah. But to be honest, I think I've done exactly what I need to be doing, which is touch people for good or for bad. Like all those people that get pissed off with me, it's necessary somehow. I don't know why, but I've touched people, and I done art that has had like shows, music that hasn't been massive. I'm not filling stadiums. I'm not a famous guy. I'm not a celebrity, but the little things have had a big ripple effect in people. Maybe not
Big ripple effect.
maybe not media. Maybe I'm not in the Rolling Stones cover, and that's cool. And I'm not trying to justify. I'm just being honest. I feel that the little things have a lot of ripple effects in many directions and touched people. And I think that's my has been my sort of my mission, or my, you know, what was the word you used? My
Design?
Yeah, like what I'm designed to do. I think it's that, and to be a living example. Like I'm not supposed to be uh to do amazing art piece that will, transcend, like a Picasso or whatever. I'm supposed to be here in the field level, like my dad would say, like in the field level, to touch people, to be erratic, to cry. Maybe I cry, and maybe a guy that is really close in his masculinity gets like, wow, this guy's crying. And yeah, you know, men do cry. Like I feel like crying. Like, like those little things,
Mhm. Small ripples.
small ripples in a more human one-to-one, or more close encounter stuff. I think
That's what you think life has designed you for.
yeah, because I'm
And
clearly not a good artist. Like I don't do masterpieces, man. Like I haven't done a
when you say
hit.
artist, you mean painter. You mean painter.
No, no. I also mean musician. Like I haven't done a symphony that rocks everyone, and that
Mm,
creates a massive artistic musical icon.
mm.
My gift at some point is, yeah, my shows are cool. They're nice, but they're not the best, or transcendental,
Transcendental.
transcendental.
Mhm.
But what happens within them, it is
Okay, so we finish every game with pulling out a question at the
nice.
end,
Wow.
self edition. So you don't have to answer it, but we'll ask it.
All
We'll
right.
ask the question.
All right.
And it's always interesting to see. You want the top half or bottom half?
Bottom.
Okay. Just tell me when to stop. I'm going to flick it through and you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Uh-huh. Wow. You want to read it out loud?
Is there really a boat to miss? Wow. Shit, that's deep.
What comes up? What comes up for you?
Well, the first thing that came up is like, yes, you can miss a boat, and yet life goes on.
Mm.
But you can miss.
You can miss a boat.
You can miss stuff and then regret many years later, and it was part of it. It was part of the bigger boat that you didn't miss.
So is there really a boat to miss? I see. Maybe your answer is like, there's no boat to miss, but there are dinghies. There are dinghies that you can miss.
Yeah.
You can miss a dinghy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bueno.
Yeah.
Great. Last question I have for you, just I'm wondering about, you have this quote that you liked recently that you say, primero lo que deja y luego que apendeja. It just translates like, first what you leave, then what you take.
No,
No?
it's funnier than that.
Great.
So, first, what makes money. Second, what makes you stupid.
Much better translation. First what makes you money, then what makes you stupid.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
A pendejo, a pendeja
Que sí, claro.
means,
Sí, claro.
it normally used, I used to use it with my ex-girlfriend. It was something I kept from her. So, I would say stupid. Should we make out? No, first do your fucking send the application and then we make out. It's like first what makes money, then what makes you stupid.
First do your responsibilities, then have fun.
Yeah.
First take care of business, then take care. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that like a reminder for you in your life? For you?
No, I'm not
Use
following.
that-
I'm not following through. I can't, man. I'm just having fun, and business is unattended.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Bueno.
I want to thank you for joining me in this conversation. I hope it had some utility. I hope it offered a reflection of what maybe life is shaping you for, and maybe it offered a missing piece to the puzzle of your life. It was a pleasure for me, and I appreciate your time and attention. Please subscribe to our channel so that you can stay abreast of all the new episodes we have coming out. And until next time, thank you so much.
Guts is a Skin Deep media production. The show is produced and edited by Gonzalo Torres Ocampo, with editorial support from Anthony Cabral, and executive produced by me, Topaz Adizes. Special thanks to all the guests who showed guts, without whom there will be no getting under the skin. Interested in joining our community and following this journey? Visit guts.podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and theskindeep.com for in-depth conversation card games that create the space for connection, intimacy, and deeper conversation.